homework on this. And it's like, I just keep reliving these stories over and over again. So I decided to start writing the funny stuff and like the humorous stuff, because I wanted my kids to be able to read this, but I didn't want them to read like all this death and destruction, dead babies and domestic violence. And then I was like, then as I started writing, I was like, well, maybe my kids will learn something from my being an idiot and like my mistakes and what I've learned from these mistakes. So I just made this really kind of comedic, kind of a joke out of my own personal career, which ends up me being Officer of the Year and then fired the same year and getting a life-saving award the day that I get fired. So I won't spoil that for your book. So I had written all these, but in report form, and I had gotten the opportunity to pitch these to Nick Palmisano. So he took my book and turned it into like not so much a report, and then he pitched it to a guy named Amar from Simon Schuster at the time, and ends up getting this book deal. But at the time, I didn't know what a co-author was, and so I was like, well, I don't even know what a co-author is or does, and what a co-author does, which is what Nick does, is he takes what you've written, or he takes your story, and he makes it coherent and makes it in sense. He gives it structure and he gives it a beat. And so everything in here I wrote, and then he made it have a rhythm, and it sounded great
and flow,
and it flowed, and he used bigger words,
using all of the police reports that you had like written and stuff like that.
And so the great thing about this book and this project was that all the stories in my book are backed up by police reports.
That's cool.
So it was cool to be able to go back and see kind of how the stories played out, and then put them into the story form. And
has this already launched?
It launches August 26th.
August 26th.
Yeah.
So if you're a cop and you probably have a lot of crazy stories, or if you're just anybody that likes that stuff, check this book out. I guarantee you there is somebody out there who has experienced similar stories to things that you've experienced that are going to read this and be like, oh my God, I literally had the same thing happen to me.
Yes. And I wrote it in such a way, it's like a story. It's not a series of stories. It's like a story of me beginning to end and trying to find my way in the squad.
Oh, it's linear timeline.
Yeah, it's linear.
Okay.
Timeline, and it's me trying to find friends on the squad, me being rejected from the squad for being an idiot, me just having all the, and it's, and the lawyer that did the legal read, he called me after the Simon Schuster big legal read, and he does this 8 hours a day legal read thing with me for like 3 or 4 days, and he calls me on Saturday and he's like, hey man, normally we don't do this kind of thing. He's like, I'm just asking, not from the legal perspective, I just want to ask you for my own personal thing, kind of like, can we chat? And I was like, sure. And he was like, man, as a civilian, he's like, a lot of these things I can relate to. And he was like, it was really cool to actually see somebody who has all the problems with the politics, or has the problems with all the things that you have problems with, but you actually say it with like what you're thinking and how you're thinking as somebody from the outside that didn't have any intentions, right? So I never wanted to be promoted. I didn't want to be a detective. I didn't want to be SWAT. I didn't want to be K9. Like, I wanted to be a street cop, and that was it. I didn't really want to be a cop anyway. Like, I was just doing this because I moved up here, got married, and had nothing else to do. Yeah. So I didn't have any intentions. And so when I wrote the book, I didn't really have any intentions except to show you and show everybody else